Why don't they just do that though, Tim? Why doesn't NASA do that?
Are you trying to get me into the why don't they just like this?
I'm just trying to knock all the
Let's
space stuff out of the way here, since we're on such a roll.
Space stuff out of the way.
Why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do that?
Is that what you wanted, Ben? Is that really what you wanted? Did you guys miss that?
Oh my God! Yeah. Yes. We severely missed that.
It just ties the whole podcast together.
God, so
It's like a good rug.
Okay, this is more a question for you guys. I want to see what you guys think of this. It's a great question. Andrew Nelson at Mr. Pura Vida on Twitter.
Pura Vida.
There you go. Says, what are your thoughts on NASA not interested in propulsive landings for crewed missions? Why don't they just use landing wheels and parachutes on Starship after it does a second reentry burn? Why try to land vertically instead of horizontally? That's basically the big thing, is why not just like fly to a landing, or, use parachutes to just land horizontally instead of trying to do the propulsive landing on Starship. You know how Starship will be doing that crazy thing and landing down on its tail? That seems pretty dangerous and crazy. Why don't they just rip some chutes, land horizontally, or even better, just land like the space shuttle did horizontally? Why don't they just?
Because someone's already done that.
That's why. Someone's done it, therefore it sucks.
Yeah. We want innovation here, okay? We can't do innovative stuff and copy someone else.
Airplanes land that way. We're not going to do that. We're space.
Stupid.
What do you guys think?
I don't know how that would work any better. Well, first of all, the parachutes have to be gigantic because Starship is gigantic. Like, I don't even know if they make them that big, but maybe they do. That's a side thing. But like, so you got parachutes and it's floating down, and then you have wheels, so that it like
it'd have to be landing gear, right?
Are we talking like a parasail or something and come down?
Yeah, maybe like Gemini style. How Gemini had that Regala wing concept where they were going to throw that out and then land it on wheels. I don't know.
Oh.
Basically, why don't they do anything but propulsive landing? We'll go there. Why not use parachutes? Why not use bigger wings maybe and land it horizontally?
Well, I can't help but wonder how many people were asking the same question before they said they were going to land Falcon 9s, when that seemed impossible. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming they've worked it out and they think they can make it work, and it's probably more sustainable and reusable, and they're using. I imagine it would be easier to do that than to like redo the parachute thing. I'm sure that's a whole ordeal, probably more so than we think. But I'm just. I don't know.
Why doesn't LeBron do a layup instead of a dunk? I mean, because the dunk is awesome. That's why. It's a clear answer here, obviously.
But that's a better answer.
So I think my favorite answer to this is actually, Elon said it a couple times. There are no runways on Mars. There's no runway on the moon. To land on the moon, to land on the Mars.
Now.
True. But you have to, well, and on the moon, you can't use parachutes. You can't glide to there's no air.
Because there's no atmosphere.
You have to land propulsively on the moon. And realistically, you have to land propulsively. No, you have to land propulsively for a vehicle of this size on Mars. We already have to land propulsively basically with Curiosity. And that vehicle's only, a 100th or 2000th the size or whatever it is. I don't know. It's way smaller than Starship. And they already outgrew parachutes for that.
You'd need like an Astrodome size parachute for Starship, right?
At some point you're lugging more parachute than you're lugging payload,
Well, speaking of Curiosity, I was just thinking before you said that maybe they could do sort of a hybrid crane technique kind of thing like Curiosity did, but use parachutes to float it down and then just kind of use some propulsion to like stick the landing at the end or something.
Yeah, but now you're talking like that sounds way more complicated than just using the engines that are already there. Way lighter because you don't have to worry about parachutes, the supporting structure of parachutes. You don't have to worry about additional thrusters that are horizontally mounted as opposed to the engines that are already built into the vehicle. Yeah. And it's just a matter of like once you engineer around these things, they become you can handle it. Like, again, propulsive landing of Falcon 9 seemed literally impossible. And now they're making it look so easy. And they're still trying to, they're still pushing it to the boundary sometimes. But for a routine mission, and especially if they add more redundancy, like that CRS 16 where the grid fins were stuck, that happened because it's not mission critical and it's definitely not human life critical to land for the Falcon 9. If they designed it around mission criticality and all that stuff, I think they'd be to the point where they're basically 100% now, or very, very safe. But yeah, I think the main reason is just like it does not scale well to do parachutes and to glide, and you definitely can't do either of those things on the moon and Mars.
Yeah, it seems a little bit weird to try. Now, the propulsive landing on the moon and Mars, because Mars has gravity, the moon... What's the moon's gravity compared to Earth? It's like tiny, right?
It's 1/6, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because you're... Like the software, the algorithm that figures out that propulsive landing is going to be just slightly different, right, than on Earth, right?
I mean, it will need its own dedicated...
Yeah. Like you're not just going to assume, it'll figure it out, right? Like you're going to run those through calculations and do all that, but you already have the framework for doing it.
Absolutely.
In probably the most difficult place you're ever going to land. I mean, where else would we put a Starship? Europa?
Eventually someday, maybe out, like
we're not going
Enceladus.
to Mercury or Venus. There's no point, and that'd be terrible. Mars,
Enceladus, and Europa are maybe potential candidates in a very distant future.
Yeah, and none of the other gas giants are whatever. So yeah, So if you've already got it, like probably the hardest version of that system of landing, then. Yeah, why wouldn't you just use that again? It seems like it makes more sense to do it than to not.
Yeah, there you go. What else do we have in the news this week? There's space. Sorry, I had a big old
We need more space stuff.
Well,
we had some catching up to do. Hey, thanks for checking us out, guys. I hope you enjoyed this clip from our podcast.
We do a weekly show here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to Our Ludicrous Future, where we discuss all the things that are going to make our future totally ludicrous.
You can join us here on YouTube or at any of your favorite podcast places. Plus, if you want to get some behind-the-scenes stuff and join a cool community, you can help support the channel at patreon.com. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.